So, just to start it off with a bang, Ten Hag made a statement after the Chelsea match stating, "We were dominating the game and it was brilliant how we played. We deserved to win the game." This is the business of winning, not losing. Am I right?
You are correct. 100% accurate.
Isn't that how that works?
You play to win the game is what Herm Edwards has so eloquently said in the past.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin said that the standard is the standard, and if this is the standard, well, let's just remind everybody the Glazers are there for 10 more years. Welcome to the Star Boys!
You are now tuned into the Snobby Boy Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Snobby Boy Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Colby. That's my homeboy, Joe, over there. It's going to be us talking to you about all things City, as usual. But before we get too far in, I want to also say thanks for tuning in. Make sure that if you are new, if you're not new, but you haven't done it yet, make sure that you hit the like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications. Make sure that you hit us up on Snobby Pod at all of our social medias, and make sure that you hit us in the comments. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, Joe. Sorry, a little private chat on the back end side. Yeah, do that. And if you want to comment with us this evening, make sure that you head over to our YouTube page, Snobby Boys Podcast, so you can comment with us there. I found out that you cannot comment from X while watching, which is lame. Do better, Elon Musk.
I do have it up, though, so if you do drop something in there, I will have it, and I'll read it, and we'll make it happen that way. So if you do decide to comment on X, I got you still.
Awesome. Look at Joe doing work. Love it.
Trying to.
So on this episode, we're going to review the Crystal Palace. Excuse me. Aston Villa first, and then Crystal Palace match. And then, obviously, we're going to get into later in the episode about our Champions League matchup against Real Madrid, followed by our PL matchup against Luton Town that following Saturday. As well as, I thought this was something kind of cool to talk about this week. FanFest was in Nashville, and they had quite a showing, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But as always, before we go too far, here's our little t-shirt ad. You can go on to bonfire.com. There you go. bonfire.com/store/snobby-store. I still have that 15% going for you guys. Just trying to get you guys to get some shirts, isn't it? They're pretty dope. Joe's wearing his tonight. I have mine. Dude, they're so comfortable. They're so comfortable.
Great quality.
Like I think I'm in 4 washes now, 3-4 washes of that, and it's held up to like day one. And you know how like some sweatshirts, specifically when you get them, they have like the really soft inside. You wash them like 4 or 5 times, and they get all like bally inside and shit. Yeah, not these ones at all. Top quality stuff. So go out and get yours. Let's get right into the madness. Aston Villa. We came out right out the gate. Rodri was taking no prisoners. He said, fuck this, we're getting in. Thought that was pretty awesome. Start off that way. I think that's something that we, every week we really want, is to start off really strong and, kind of make through the game progressions that lead to goals, so that way, obviously expands it. But one of the things I want to say, though, didn't Rodri say that after this goal, everybody has to tuck their shirt in?
How many does he have right now?
What wasn't it? 10 was the mark.
I believe so. The 10 was the number that he said everybody would have to then wear their shirts tucked in, just like him. Kova has already started to adapt that, so he's already joined in the fun. We have yet to get the whole squad to do it though, which I think would be fucking hilarious.
Yes. Oh my god. I'll have a field day with that episode whenever they do it. Like
so much good content and pictures coming from that. We can create so many good things. Oh.
We really just need to Photoshop everybody's head on Rodri and put it in a picture.
Boom.
If you're listening and you steal that idea, I'm coming after you.
We got to watch it.
I see you.
But yeah, you definitely want to get that early goal, especially for us, because that tactic that everybody's using, especially over the past 3 or 4 matches, is just to pack everything in. So getting an early goal like that forces them to come out of that shell a little bit and creates more spaces for us. So getting an early goal especially from Rodri, who's been our pretty much he's not captain every week. He's part of the captain group, but I think he is the one that shows oftentimes the most passion and energy and enthusiasm out on the pitch. You can see it in his body language and everything. He's one of the emotional leaders of the squad for sure. So getting him to be the one to bang it in, that's big for us.
Massive. One of the things that I think, and I'm gonna skip around here, Joe. One of the things that I always say right before we play Villa is watch out for Lucas Digne, because he always comes out with some type of chip on his shoulder or like a vengeance. Like, I don't know if he's got like something personal against us. That's also kind of showing that I don't really watch all the games, especially with him in it. But every time he's played us, dude, he acts like he's punching above his weight. I think maybe that's probably the best way to describe it. And the way that he tries to do that is by cheap fouls. And
that started right away.
That started right the frick away. Like, so going just a little bit past that, Villa ties up. That was a dodgy play that they made there, leaving the guy in offside space. Like, it didn't feel right. Like, it didn't feel right. It just didn't feel like that. Like, obviously it counts, but like, should it have all at the same time? Because it just, I don't know. Like, there's the part of the game where you're just like, this is very questionable, because this doesn't happen a whole lot, where you have a guy playing in the offside position basically being a decoy.
Yeah.
To split up that attack specifically. There were so many question marks around that one for me. I was just like,
different day, different ref that could have been called offside, and people probably wouldn't have blinked an eye. So prior to that, I felt like watching it live, I think Akanji is a bit at fault for that one. In this type of situation, his mistake was out of effort, not out of just a mental lapse.
Right.
He was trying to make a play on the ball, but in doing so, he crowded the space that Rodri was already marking, and that left that massive hole in behind where they played the ball right behind where he left and vacated that space. So, in that situation, though, again, he's trying to make a play. As a coach, those kind of mistakes where it's an effort thing, you kind of live with, because you want your guys being aggressive. You want them, attacking the ball. So sometimes that shit happens and you're like, hey, you know what? I appreciate the effort. But it happens. But I think that was the big miss there with that goal, was Rodri was already in that space and he was not scanning enough ahead of time, and was like, I'm see ball, go get ball, go stop ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then they saw that and played it in, which kudos to them. They made the right ball at the right time, and shit happens, but
shit happens. Yeah. And let's be real. I mean, defensively, we've not we've not been the greatest. I mean, I will give credit where it's due and say that Arsenal has had a pretty stellar defense, especially considering that they haven't even unlocked Jury and Timber yet. So, like, there's that whole other thing. But as far as, like, making comparisons goes, I feel like we've stacked up quite well next to them, considering the amount of injuries that we've had and we've taken literally since the winter break just in our defense. So, anyways, moving forward, Grealish, so the ref all match was laissez-faire, right? Douglas Luiz was also being a pest, massive pest.
Yeah. We know why, because he was never given a full chance at City, so he's got an attitude about us every time he plays it.
Well, and in this particular instance, but throughout the whole match, as long as they were both on the pitch together, it was like he was targeting Grealish specifically, which I guess I guess I get it, I guess, but. Anyways, Grealish gets carded for literally absolutely nothing.
Didn't even
Douglas Luiz milked the fuck out of that. Let's be real.
And right before that, there were like 3 or 4 more egregious, more shitty fouls.
Very obvious.
Right before
very obvious fouls.
And then Jack doesn't touch a guy and make it, and it looks like it might have been worse, and we get a card.
Yeah.
So where'd that come from?
Right. I mean, and again, who's in whose pocket? Who's in whose pocket? Now, obviously that didn't make a difference on how the day ended up. But after that goal, we looked a little disheveled in the attack. Defensively, we were still holding well, but like it was kind of like right in that moment, the wind got taken out of the sails.
Yeah, it took a little while to get back into the groove and get into our free-flowing attack. It was a little like disheveled, discombobulated, whatever word you want to throw in there. It was not as smooth as it was earlier in the match, which is understandable.
No.
When you get hit in the mouth, it usually takes you a few minutes in boxing, but in soccer and footy, it could take you 5-10 minutes to get back into your flow.
Well, and it's an extreme kick in the dick when you are the fouls aren't being distributed evenly. It's I'm gonna let this go, but that doesn't. No. You're gonna call it game even. Call it game even. Call it even.
As a player, it's maddening when you can't play the game the way you're accustomed to, because of the inconsistency of the referee and the way they're calling the match across any sport. If it's basketball, football, American football, whatever, all you ask from the referees is consistency on calls. And when it's not that way, and especially when it's lopsided kind of against your squad, I feel that so hard, because that is the case with my daughter's team that I coach. Don't get me started.
We watched a little video earlier, so
it's so frustrating, and when you feel like you're getting the short end of the stick as a player, it takes you out of your rhythm. So as a person, you get those emotions going, and you got to take some time to collect yourself before you get back into your flow.
Sure, knock off that bit of rage that's inside of you.
Exactly.
Transform it into something positive, if you will.
Who did a great job of that all game was Jack Grealish, because he was getting the shtick from the away Villa fans. Constantly. Well,
I mean, yes. The booing was it was persistent the whole match. And I get it, I guess. To them, you were the golden boy. You were the captain before you left, so I get why they're a little bit mad. But also, it's probably comes from a place of if he was still with Villa, he'd be seeing regular minutes, non-stop minutes for them. And I think with his style of play, there was going to be a point, if it wasn't then when we took him, that he was going to hit a plateau in his playability, and not be able to get to the next steps of greatness in this game. Like there just wasn't that much chance of getting in European competition. I mean, you're staying up in the top 6 this year, Villa. That's great, but Jackie, I mean, yes, he was missed since we took him, obviously, because there was a big lull last year, and even in the year that we took him. But he needed this. If you're restricting somebody if you're keeping them at that level and they're having to be the end all be all for your team. Like,
and you were able to
Douglas
rebuild your squad completely with the amount of money that we gave you for him. Like, you brought in several really good players who have been contributing for your squad. So it's not like he just left you high and dry. He got you a very large sum of money that you were able to put back in. He could have been somebody who just played out his contract and did the Mbappe situation and just was like, I don't want to play and leave you guys screwed. That didn't happen. He made sure y'all got your money too. So I get the frustration, I do, but like, it's also we're on year 3 now, so maybe lay off a little bit, especially for a away game.
Right.
Karma then
right out
back up at the end of the first half. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Karma happened. Douglas Luiz pulled back Jack, as we said. That ended up in a free kick. Then does it again to Foden, which goes to a free kick and a smasher of a fucking goal. Bro, how often do you see anybody in a free kick from, I don't know, a couple yards outside the box split defenders and make it? Like that first of all, Aston Villa defenders do better, because if I'm your coach, you're running the rest of the freaking week. No questions asked. You do not fold in your bodies and allow a ball to go through ever.
Was it Zaniolo? I think it was the guy at the end. He jumped, which is good, but he jumped away from the player next to him, and he turned his back away from the ball, so creating that space for Phil to knock the ball through. Those are 2 massive no-nos. You don't separate from your wall. You stay packed together, and you don't turn your back so you can't see the ball anymore. That's a humongous. And if I'm Olsen, if I'm their goalie, as we're going at halftime, I am reaming out every single one of those players that was in the wall, because that's not on him. The wall failed to do its job, and that's bit like 101 defending, what you learn in like U12, U13 when you're starting to learn walls and shit.
Right.
Stay packed together. Do not let the ball go through. Like, that's the whole point of a wall, is not to let something go through it. Over, it is what it is, but you can't let it go like through you.
Right. Listen,
go ahead.
If I'm
just gonna ream on Roy. Oh God.
Go ahead.
Go.
If I'm Unai,
he's talking about Erling Haaland being a League 2 player.
A League 2, bro.
What does that make those guys? Oh,
non-leaguers. Sunday league.
League.
Sunday league. Thursday or Wednesday league, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? No.
Absolute shit house.
Dude, if I'm Unai, I'm walking into the fucking locker room at halftime and I'm smacking them all upside the head. All of them.
You guys, y'all are running a lot at practice this week.
Seriously. Like, I'm talking about like when your grandma got mad, she smacked you upside the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So walking into the second half, pretty good performance from the first half all around, considering what the goals were. But we have, as all year, been more a second half team. So the question begs here: is this going to be a second half City performance? Granted, where we're at on the board. The first thing that I want to make mention of, really, for this whole game, and ever since he's come back from whatever that sickness was, where he was hemmed up in Croatia for however long, since he's come back, I don't know if they've given him some sort of fucking like, NZT, whatever that shit is from Limitless, but Homeboy has been on it. Absolutely on it. His track back ability has just improved tremendously. He's been good all year. I'm not going to say that it hasn't, but it's just like there's another gear he unlocked recently, and I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, he's been on it for the last several games, and to the point where he's been, I think, our best defender over the past 3 or 4 matches. He's been killing it out wide, and both roles as an attacking player and as someone who's handling their defensive responsibilities too, and just showing off so much skill. Somebody that we've talked about this before with his skills on the ball, but it's really been standing out for me the last 3 or 4 matches, especially because for a guy who's been a natural center back for so long, his ability on the ball to take people on, to dribble past people, knowing when to make those runs forward, like that, his adaptation to almost full-time left back for us at this point has been great to see, and I'm just loving every second of him being on the pitch, because I knew he was really, really highly rated and really, really good, but he's still he's showing why we spent so much money on him and why he's been one of the talked about young defenders across Europe. So he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
Well, I put up a poll on Instagram. I also took that poll to a specific group on Facebook, the Real Governors page. If you're a Real City fan and you're not in there, you should be. Put up. I don't have it loaded up into the yard, so I'm not going to pull it up. But if you did see it on our social media pages, we put up a post where I had all 4 signings from the summer and who everybody thought was the best signing, value, whatever it may be. Overwhelming amount was for Yasko, and rightfully so. He's just shown that he's worth every euro that we spent on him. And to think, again, and we do this almost every episode, to think he's still so young, what he will transform into. I mean, I have a picture that I made at the beginning of the season. We still had Laporte at that time, but it was a group of all of our defenders. Dude, we're going to be a brick wall once everything gels right. Once, and especially with the impending situation with what may or may not happen with Kyle Walker, we're going to have a spot available. Akanji's been doing really good in it, surprisingly. But I mean, there's been the talk of was it Jeremy Jerome Frimpong from from Leverkusen. I can see him fitting in, but that's, again, now you're taking away chemistry. You're having to build new chemistry within that line. There's nothing established. I would love to see Kyle Walker there for 2 more years and have a line of Walker, Stones, Diaz, Gvardiol. Or even interchangeably. Exactly. Either, so. Well, even Gvardiol centrally, we haven't seen him play. So, I mean, and the way Ruben's been playing out of the back, I see a lot of similarities in their play in that particular realm of the game, where it could be really great for us, especially God knows what happens with Rubes in the next few years with his contract. I mean, have to be thinking long term, but I think Yasko is that long term because he is so interchangeable. Anyways, enough gloating on Yasko. We know he's good. We know. Another match where low block breaks us down.
Constantly. At one point, in the second half, they had 9 players. 9 of their players lined up on the 18.
Yeah.
And then there's the goalie, which is 10, which means they had one. That their striker was the only one up.
Yeah.
That's insanity. For a club that's got top 4 ambitions, that is looking to challenge for a European spot, to play that defensive. And I get people don't want to get smashed by us when they come to the Etihad. But all you're doing is inviting more and more and more pressure, especially when you put 9 there.
Right.
There's no outlet there. There's no outlet. So all you're going to do is sit there for a good period of time because City keep the ball so well. You're not good. And then in that situation, you're not even pressing the people who have the ball. So it's
right
lunacy to me to play like that.
Yet we're going to continue to see it for the rest of the season, dude. So like,
get used to it.
Buckle up, I guess. Right. Well, and I think with you saying that kind of helps break into something right here. Like maybe it'll be more relevant in the Palace match, but one of the things that we've had such a struggle with low block is breaking through it. We asked the question last week, what's it going to take? I asked Joe, what's it going to take? We got a little bit of a different answer, though, from Mr. Phil, which we'll get into in a second. Ortega had an amazing save just shortly after this. It was a break opportunity from Villa. I'm sure you guys remember it. I think all of us probably had our balls or whatever parts going up into our stomach. Yeah, like...
Bruh.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
All of that. But Ortega stood his ground and continued to show why he's the best backup keeper in the Premier League for me. Because there's a little drop off from Ederson, but it's not much. Because he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic for us, and again, we said it before. It's really hard as a backup keeper to step in and start playing full time when you've been getting spot minutes pretty much most of the year. So it's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, he's played like a Premier League GK1 should play, and he starts anywhere else at this point. Because of the way he's played just over these last few matches. His ability to step in place for a name such as Ederson speaks volumes to not only the player he is, but the character that he doesn't... He's a bit ice cold, if I must say so myself. Like, he doesn't back down from the challenge. He's not scared. He's not scared of making plays out of the back. He's not scared of controlling the ball. I mean, shit. We had a little scare, but we'll get to that later. At this point in the game, I feel like Unai's main mission is just to knock us around because they were starting to get reckless. A few games ago, was it United? When we talked about it, they were literally just become wrecking balls. They didn't care.
Yep.
And
100%.
that was kind of the message I was getting at this point in the game. Where he was just like, he was on basically, he was like, fuck you guys. Like, this is what I'm going to do.
It's low block and people trying to be physical with us and just like cheapy, borderline, almost always dirty fouls that are late.
Right.
Trying to get us off our game. That's the strategy that people are employing against us right now.
Well, it's funny because you always find it when they're super compact. You know what I'm saying? You're at the top of the box, coming in for like a free kick or setting up the play. That's all they do is they compact right there at the top of the box. So the utilization of the wings is almost non-existent because we're like right where we're about to get into. And Phil Foden all night spent basically being a fucking bulldozer, trying to get the ball through that line. And it was next to near impossible. Like, I love to see his tenacity doing that, but it creates nothing.
Yeah,
like it
ball movement
makes some lanes.
Ball movement and off ball movement is what creates that space, not you trying to dribble through 2 or 3 or 4 guys. So that wasn't the greatest strategy for him at the time, but that's coming out of effort. He's trying to make a play. So you live with it a little bit, but at the same time, you're probably at the back of your mind saying, hey, Phil, let's move the ball a little bit there, bud. Because it's going to come back to you. You know, with our guys, the ball is going to come back to you. It's going to find you at some point. So move it along and go find more space because that's what he's so good at is finding those little pockets.
So one of the big things this week, that people, and it's not just been this week, but I've noticed it a lot this week in the message boards and stuff like that. People getting in on Doku about his inability, that he's too direct, or that he, basically he's too fast for himself. I've said it. I mean, he's literally Louis Mendoza from Mighty Ducks on most occasions. But this is one of the first games that I took notice of the fact that he actually was controlling the ball way better, actually staying with it and not like letting it get too far away from him or trying to cross it in, and he doesn't have a good spot on the ball to kick, and he's just trying to make shit happen. Like, see that happen a lot, and he did a fantastic job. This match.
I'm glad you brought that up because I felt like the Villa match was probably his best performance of the season.
Yeah.
Earlier, we talked about it when we were talking about him earlier in the season, how he had one move and that's all he was doing, and teams started to adjust once they realized what he was trying to do. And
he was doing what Jack did.
Yeah, he didn't for a while have any counter to what they were trying to take away from him. He still was trying to do what had worked from him in the past. But teams are too good. Players are too good at this league. Managers are too good. They're going to see what you're doing well, and they're going to make adjustments. He, on Tuesday? Been a long week.
When
we played Villa, he started to diversify and mix up his moves. He would go right, he would drive the byline, then he would cut it back and actually go on to his left and dribble with his left and cut it back in.
Yeah.
And they really didn't know what to do with him at that point because he was mixing it up so much. He was way more decisive. He wasn't like lingering on the ball with like the little step over that he does like 5 times before,
right,
and not going anywhere. It would be one,
right,
and then he was making a move or he was moving the ball along. So it was the ball movement was quicker. He was more decisive. I thought he was one of our best players out on the pitch in the Villa match. So big ups to Dokes because he really impressed me.
Same. Right after that, here's Phil. Second goal. Putting him on a hat trick. Roger splits the defense. Passing to Foden. Drawing the defenders to the one side of the box was absolutely key to creating that goal. And then going forward, Doku's pass to Rico. I don't know if you guys remember this specific one. It was a little touch off, but I believe Rico probably could have sank that shot in. That was his attempt in the match. Definitely, I think he probably could have gotten that one in, but I'll let it go.
You don't always have your best first touch.
Yeah.
Sometimes it lets you down occasionally, so.
Right.
And you're young, so we'll forgive it because we love you, Rico.
Right. Sometimes when you make notes for things and you don't read them all right before you go on, and it kind of just sidewall fucking came from nowhere. But I put in here, and I remember saying this earlier about Lucas Digne and how he's always been a nuisance to us and yada, yada, yada. Well, conversely, I said we kept him pretty quiet for the whole match. And somebody wrote behind it, Patriot scene. Now, if you guys have never seen a Patriot, you should, because it's number one, a classic, and two, just, yes, America. Damn him, damn that man.
Damn that man. Yes.
I don't remember the context of how that got put in there. Was that me who put that in there?
I think so. Because you have recently watched that movie, if I'm not mistaken. You recently
watched it. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes. I think really it's probably just that I think that about him all the time because he is that guy. He's annoying as shit. Fucking little
got
pest.
A very punchable face for sure.
He's an extremely punchable face. I know you're not supposed to stereotype people, especially with how they look, but from white guy to white guy, you look like you're French as fuck. And it's Frenchmen have a very punchable face for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's a Napoleon thing, maybe. I don't know.
Gotta be.
No, I'm just spitballing shit at this point. So to close out the match, Phil hits his hat trick. Absolute Galazzo up to the upper right L. Well outside the box. Absolute moonshot.
It was magnificent. You could tell he was, at that point, had enough of being fouled and not getting the call. So because he got knocked down closer to the box, and he got up immediately, went and won the ball back, and just smashed it in the upper 90. It was so good. It's Phil in a nutshell. Getting fouled happens all the fucking time. He's always getting fouled. Oftentimes not being called. And then seeing his work rate
more often,
back. Yes. And then getting up, winning the ball back, because his defensive work rate as a forward player is second to none. And then just a classy finish in the upper 90. That's Phil. Yeah. That little nugget right there is just Phil's game in a nutshell. So love it.
Yes,
hit his hattie.
It was a pretty game.
I think it's his third Premier League hat trick, which is the same number as ones like Ronaldo had, and Phil's 23. And he's already won more trophies than him. What? And the dude's only 23, and he's not going anywhere. You don't understand how many trophies that dude's going to win. It's resetting records over here.
I really want him to be a massive impact with the national team. Like
Gareth Southgate, we're looking at you. Play him as a 10.
Dude, can somebody get him out? Because I'm so sick of watching this. It's how do you have that many good fucking players and you're not just slaughtering teams?
You're still playing Jordan Henderson in the midfield.
Right.
When you have Bellingham, Declan Rice, and Phil Foden. You have those three.
There's seniority is not everything.
No.
These other players are playing in bigger games than Jordan Henderson and have been for years at this point. So like I don't know what it is, but I said it last week, I said it this week. FA needs to do something about that shit because it's holding them back in a hard way.
And all the
just send them to United.
There you go. Problem solved.
Send them to United. Problem solved.
Them up.
Get a new coach. They're fucked for a little bit more. So everybody wins. Everybody wins. Gotta love it. So we're gonna go to our intermission real quick. We're going to come back and talk about Palace and finish up the rest of the episodes. Do not forget, you guys can comment anytime. Say whatever you want. We'll address it. But we will get to the comments later. You guys are in there and want to chat and ask stupid questions. You might get a stupid answer. Who knows? But till then, we'll be right back.
Live talking.
Exactly. We'll be right back. All right, so on to Palace. I need to wet my whistle first.
There you go. A little water in you. Staying healthy.
H2O. Yeah. So, told Joe, I'm going sober. Probably till we go to Columbus and North Carolina. But yeah. No more drinking on Sundays for the show. No more greenery. Big step for me because it's been fucking 4 years. It's been 4 years. COVID started a beast. COVID started a beast. God damn it. God damn those people that did that. Anyways, so yeah, I'm going sober. See you in the end of July.
Nice.
Right. So Palace at Selhurst, our away fans where if that was a 12, they were probably at a 15. They were at a 15, bro. This is, and it's come at perfect time because, not saying that the away crowd has been lackluster. They haven't. I mean, we're seeing all the videos of all the people that we have come into contact with via social media and stuff like that. Even directly from Big Steve. Some of his videos that he gets during the matches, because he's always there. They have been the best I've seen in the past couple years. There's not too often where you go away and you feel like you're home. And these last couple matches have been absolutely no exception away. We are drowning them out. Whether it's 9,000 of us or 3,000 of us, we're drowning them out. And that it makes me so proud.
Right, doesn't it? And
it just makes me so proud.
And we're watching on TV, and all we're hearing for those fans, if you're listening to this and you're one of the ones who are there, I try to shout y'all out on Twitter anytime I see you guys and see you all posting anything. Like all we hear is the announcers, and then we hear y'all chanting. Literally, that's all we hear. And it's clear, and it's not just like white noise. We can very clearly hear what chant you're doing. So much love and kudos to you guys for bringing it. I know I've seen the players talk about it too, about how much that means to them. Pep has talked about how much that means, the traveling support, people spending their hard-earned money to buy the tickets to travel however way you're going. If you're bussing it in, if you're taking the train, whatever, especially for Champions League matches too. Getting on an airplane and putting yourself up for lodging and all that stuff. Like, it's not easy to do that. So huge shout out to our traveling fans. Every match lately you have, and it's at a point in time, you guys are so smart too, because you know that they need it right now. They need that extra boost.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Well, you guys are always on time. Always on time. It's like you guys are DJs. Yeah. It just, the room is always hit at the right time. You're just like, yes, we needed that. Yes, we needed that. Absolutely outstanding. Kudos to you guys. Like we said, keep doing it, keep bringing it. We've got half a handful of matches away for the rest of the season. So good job, keep it going. We love it. We love to see it. We love to hear it. So for Palace, we didn't pull up our predictor for the last one. We'll do it for this one. Ortega, Yasko, Diaz, Akanji, Lewis, Rodri, Doku, Foden, Nunes, Bob, Alvarez. We were close.
Stonesy for Akanji. Nunes did not start. Holland did. And then Grealish over Dokes, right?
Yep.
This was a very tough one to pick, considering everything that was going on with a midweek game. And for against Villa, and then with the upcoming road trip to Madrid this coming Tuesday, and it is very difficult. We sent messages back and forth several times trying to decide who we were going to put in there. So tough one to pick for sure. But we stand with why we chose the guys we did.
Absolutely. You know what though? The one that surprised me a little bit, and I know I was the one that kind of like said, no, I think he's going to be there. Oscar Bob getting the start. He looked he's been there. He accentuates everything in that attack so freaking well. I can't speak enough good words on him specifically for this match. Because he was just where he needed to be when he needed to be there at all times. It's just like I said, it's like he's been on the first team for the last 4 or 5 years. he's just so fluid in the way that he moves and the way he can see off-ball runs from other players. Like, it's God bless America. I'm loving that guy in our fucking lineup. Anyways, I had actually we predicted that there was going to be a 4-1-4-1 basically, but they actually came out surprisingly in a 3-2-4-1 formation for, I would say, maybe the first half of the half. That kind of spread out a little bit depending on where the attack was going and whatnot. But as per usual, as we've seen with every team, and we said the last match, it's low block right away. We had a really good high press, though. Really, really good high press.
That group out there was definitely doing the job defensively, which was great to see. And unfortunately, early, we were hit on the counter and punished with one of their only very few opportunities that happened. Stones and Diaz, shockingly, because they've played so many matches together, had a little breakdown in communication on who was going to be covering Meteta, and he was able to get in. Kudos to him on the finish. He put it in the only spot that was going to beat Ortega, and it, hit the inside of the post and went in. So that kind of finish, there's only so much you can do about it when a player does something like that. The only thing you can do is not have that lapse in communication and make sure that he doesn't get through in that situation. So it happens. Thankfully, though, it was very early in the match. I didn't expect us to go down that early, but if it is going to be an early goal like that, I don't usually get too worked up about it just because I know the quality that we have on the pitch and the character of our squad. They're never going to feel like that they're out of a match like that, especially against a pop-up Palace, who we've struggled with, but are more than capable of doing what we did, which is come through with a win at the end. So unfortunate to concede early. You don't like that, but it was so early that so much time was still remaining that you knew that we were going to get right back into it.
Well, and that goal, and I hate to say it so crudely, but that goal, their first goal, it felt like they kind of busted their nut early. And I was happy to see that it was like, all right, we got that over with. Let's press on. We've got this. Midfield was a little dicey. There's quite a few giveaways leading to transitions. Very uncharacteristic. Yeah. Stones. That
was really the only time that Crystal Palace ever really threatened anything for us was when we gave the ball away, when we made mistakes with throwing the ball over. So,
right. Stones was a bit shaky at the start, which kind of sucked. But I mean, I honestly, when I see him having, or anybody who's basically just come off the bench, if I see them having a slow start, I have to give them grace because it's like you're trying to work back your chemistry and your rhythm with the people that you play around or play next to. You know what I'm saying? And especially with the way that we ended up moving from a 4-1-4-1 to a 3-2-4-1. You kind of knew what you were going to get out of Stonesy in this. So let's be fair.
Yep.
Let's see. Going forward, the calmness of the interchange between Bob and Rico was super impressive, and that's something that should be noted because of how young they are. Having these youngsters playing like veterans already, that should be, in my opinion, that should be a call out to the rest of the league that we got them, doesn't matter what age bracket they're in, but more importantly, the fact that we have such young players who are playing at such a high level.
And the great thing is when they're playing together, they've had plenty of game time on the same side of the pitch because they both play on the right when they were with the EDS. So having them at the same time, they know how to play with each other because they've had matches together. They're not just being thrown in with a bunch of people that they have no game time with. They have at least one other person, and they're playing on the same side where they already understand who's going to win. Bob knows if I'm going here, I I trust that Rico is going to make this run because I know he's going to be there. And that was on display where they were able to make those little interchanges because they played together before. They've had game time, training time to work that out. So that I think that's super helpful for the young guys when they're coming up, to have others from the academy that they played with on the first team with them. And obviously the trickle down effect of Pep is, we talked about last week with the ladies in the academy. Everybody plays the same way. Everybody's taught the same things. Yep. So when they come up, they already have a pretty good understanding of how things are working. They might not have that chemistry quite yet with some of them, but they know how to play the City way.
Big facts. Big facts. So I kind of misread
so much possession.
Right. I kind of misread my notes. Probably it wasn't until about the 30th minute that they came in with the low block. They were actually playing pretty wide open up until that point. Yeah, but that 90% possession up until 35 minutes. I mean, that makes sense. It makes total sense of why they went down into it like that. But I feel like we might have had the answer on this day for what they did. Did we not?
It turned out that way for the second half, that's for sure. Earlier than towards the last couple of notes that we had in the first half was more just needless giveaways from a variety of different people. It wasn't just one or two people. Anytime we kind of got into the midfield around center of the pitch, it was casual, too casual, not enough. It didn't seem like the intensity was quite there, and they weren't as focused as they've been in the past. So atypical of City was to give the ball away in such dangerous positions, and it happened 2 or 3 times there towards the end. Rodri, who's so consistent, made a just unreal back pass to Ortega. I think he was trying to get it to him, but there was a Palace player right on top. I think it was Mateta again, and and that put him under enormous pressure. But like you called Ortega earlier in the first half of the show today, absolutely ice cold. That Cruyff that he put on him under pressure and into space, just absolutely lovely. Rodri, and he knew it immediately. You could see it on his face. He was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I just did that." But good teammate. He picked him up. He was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. You made a bad pass. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to hit this Cruyff real quick, and we're going to play out of the danger, and we're going to be good." So, kudos to Ortega there. That was absolutely brilliant. It reminded me of Ederson. That's Ederson's thing, and he clearly was learning from him, because that was
clearly it was like he was trying to play like him. Well, I this was another one of those moments where my nuts went up into my fucking chest when I saw him do that, because, and I've made mention of it in past episodes, and that's not taking away from us glorifying the job he's done for us over these last matches, but man, does he have some fucking close calls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little unnerving, because it's like, one of these times you're gonna fuck up.
You get punished for it. Yeah. Exactly.
And you're gonna make us look real dumb when you do it. So like let's reel it in a little bit, Understand depth perception. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Like, one of the things that I remember my coaches telling me when I was a kid, playing contact sport or whatever, listen for the footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't trained yourself to listen for said footsteps in a sport such as, you're going to get railed somewhere.
No doubt.
Just saying.
As we were coming into halftime, you could definitely tell Pep was heated with all of the turnovers. Yeah. You could see it on his face, and justifiably so. That's not his team. He values the ball over everything. If you watch the documentary, you hear him repeating it often. The best defense is keeping the ball and not letting the other team have it. And us turning the ball over like we were was absolutely killing him. You could tell with his body language. So that going into half, that was not going to be a pleasant halftime talk for the players.
Yeah, no. And again, do we see second half City with said talk that had potentially taken place? I think so. Rolling right into the second half, Akanji came out for Yasko, or went in for Yasko. Let's see.
Picked up a little niggle.
Yeah, apparently.
There was
such a funny word.
I know, niggle.
Who came up with that?
Who knows? Some British guy.
Oh my god!
But yeah, he apparently picked up a little knock, and they were being overly cautious, which is why Akanji came in, which was good to see because and you have every confidence in the world with Akanji. He's gonna take care of business and do what he's supposed to do, and he was very assured. He wasn't quite as offensive as Yoshko was, but he was not a liability out there on the left.
No, well, and he's been one of our better utility defensemen this year. He fits anywhere really. Exactly, he fits everywhere in the backfield. So I don't like. Yes, I know weeks ago we were running on, especially me, was running on about how his ball skills were not up to par, and just some of the decision making he was having was just not smart football at all. But he's proven himself over, just like Gavardiol, what he is able to maintain in the backfield and what the type of workload he can have. Certain things they Pat puts on him, especially with being able to be the pivot, moving the ball forward. It's a lot to say about somebody when you're able to put somebody anywhere and it would just work. Moving forward, Rico's at the right place at the right time. Great ball in by Grealish. Clean up the trash. We cleaned up the trash. We've been doing it. We've been talking about it, and guess what? They've been implying it, and well,
it's working.
It's working. It's absolutely the one thing that I'll critique on it, though. On the whole, just from a coach's perspective, mind what I see everybody crashing the goal, and that's great. I dig the energy, and everybody wants to be there, but somebody's got to be the dude out. Somebody's got to stay a little bit behind in case, because there was a couple balls that went off the crossbars, and they were pinged away from the goalkeeper, and there were people just not in the space at all, and they were all up on the goal, and was like, bro, we could have done something like that. Especially a couple times it went out to the left. And I feel like we could have capitalized on there if we didn't send so many people into the box at once. So, but I mean, that going back on what I said, I really appreciate that what we've been saying for weeks, really the whole year, is to crash the goal, and they're finally freaking doing it, and they're capitalizing. So, there's that. Joe.
Something which is oversight on my part, because I was taking kind of lead on some of the notes. We didn't even mention Kevin's absolute banger of a first goal.
Whoopsies.
Whoops. That was...
What kind of City fans are we? Who are these guys?
Oh my gosh.
Weird. Oh my god. Fucking dumb Americans.
That his first goal was absolutely sick. The first touch to make it big enough to get it away from the defender, and then get his steps right, and then absolutely unleash a Galazzo and a worldie into the upper right. Oh, what a goal! Yeah. You put your head down for a second, you missed it. But the first touch to get it out from your feet that wide separates the world-class players. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Bingo, El Ringo. But getting back into the second half, you could tell that Pep was like, we are not going to play the same way in the second half. And they cleaned up those little mistakes. We weren't turning the ball over anymore. They were holding possession a lot better. Their accuracy on their passes were better, and that cut down on the threat from Crystal Palace, because their only threat was counterattacking and picking up on our loose passes, and that didn't really happen much in the second half until the very end. But it was so much better. You could see the changes that were made, and the intensity level was different when they came out in the second half. So you gotta love that. Then responded again very quickly with goal number 3. Jack, Kevin, and Holland. We talked about how Holland is so much more comfortable with those two players, especially on the pitch with him. And those three
showed.
Yes, exactly. And those three just worked so well together for that third goal. That one, Steph and Ellie got up and watched the game with me. So shout out to them for getting up early on a Saturday morning. We all were like,
shit.
Was that a goal? Are they counting that? Because we were like, are they going to call it offside? That looked like it might have been. And in that situation, they always we often get the short end of the stick. So we didn't quite celebrate that one right away, because I was like, they're going to put they're going to put a flag up. Somebody's going to put a flag up, right? And then they go back and review, and everything's on, and then you get to finally celebrate. So, which was great. And I love that we might be jumping ahead, but Jack had a fantastic game. I thought he was great. He was involved in the build-up for all 4 of the goals, and he was very, very active and a part of everything good that was going on attacking First City. So,
yes,
shout out to Jackie. He needed a game like that to get his confidence going, and
that's it, and that's just it. His confidence, because that's one thing that I think. I'm not going to say all season, but for a better part of this season, there's a bit of him that's been lacking. And I think it is pinpointed on confidence. Not getting the amount of reps what was this, his 3rd season with us now? Second season. 3rd season.
3rd, yeah.
3rd season with us now, and he's not seeing regular time. You just brought in a really speedy winger who's been getting a little bit more time. Now, granted, obviously, there's been some injury to this that he's had. The international break helped nobody, as we saw. But his form has come back. Jackie Caffs is back. So yeah, absolutely great to see that he was contributing the way that he was in the play. He did fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic job. Where do we go next?
We scored again.
We sure did.
And Kevin had another cracker with his left this time, off of, I think, a layoff. I think Rodri laid that one, or might have laid it off for him and played it back. The off-ball movement there was, it was Jack again. Jack to Rodri to Kevin, and the off-ball movement from the other players allowed that space to happen, and Kevin just knew when to make the timing of the run into the space, and Rodri just cushioned it perfectly to where Kevin didn't have to think about it and could just hit it one time with his left, and beauty of a strike. So goal number 2 for Kev, assist also on the day. So that's a good, when Jack and Kevin are rounding into form at the right time for us, that's huge going forward. So that I love seeing those 2 players in particularly starting to get their groove together. That's trouble for the other teams.
Does it make you feel, though, like a little too close for comfort and consideration to where we are in the season? I mean, I know this hasn't been, every season feels like it always has some stupid weird breaks for no freaking reason. And this season's been no exception with Euro comps, but I for me at least, this is a little too close for comfort for me with how tight the race is, how many games we've got left, how many competitions we're in. It's just like, is this a little late, or are we on right on time? I mean, obviously that question will get answered by the end of the season, but it's, to me at least, a little scary. It's been a little scary because of some of the results that have happened this past week, specifically today. It's help open things up, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But for the last couple of weeks, if you've not been sitting around with your butthole puckered up, I don't know if you're on the same planet that everybody else is when it comes to this team. But I'm just saying, like, because I really have been, like, just clinching it.
The difference this year is that it's not just one team that we're fighting right now. It's two. There's a third team now involved in this. Before it was us and one other clubs. We only really needed one team to have a slip up. And now because of results that have happened from our play and the really stellar play of Liverpool and Arsenal all season, we're a point behind both of them, and we have to rely on two clubs. So that adds an extra dimension of nervousness and anxiety. Even though of the three teams that are still running in the title race, we have the history recently of coming from behind and winning it, and having the experience of winning it multiple times. So it is definitely stressful though, because every match here on out is a must win, and when the games are tight, when it's 1-1 or we go down 1-0 early, it just ratchets it up the anxiety about, man, if we don't fix this, if any random slip could happen, or we switch off like Rico and Diaz did at the end of this game, and they let a second goal in. It didn't hurt us because we had 4 already, but one moment like that could be the difference in the title chase for the Premier League. So it's definitely stressful.
Yeah. So moving forward from that, Kova in for Rodri, Nunes in for Jules. I felt like those were pretty on-time substitutions for us. And I think it was the right pairing, because one of the things that we have seen, especially with Kova, is this season when he's put in, he's usually right next to Rodri. So getting to see him basically play that holding role for Rodri for once was really nice. It gave me a bit of hope, especially with the amount of playing time that Rodri's had. I mean, there's always a little part of me that feels like we're literally a pin needle away from him getting an injury. Mm-hmm. So trying to find the person that can take his position and manage it, he gave me that hope for this match. So, yeah.
It was nice getting Rodri some 20 minutes off. Even every little time, every minute we can get him a breather on games like this is valuable, because he's going to start every game. So if we can get a lead and give him 15, 20 minutes here and there to rest and get a breather, that makes a difference in the long run for him. So that was good. And I like the Nunes pairing, because he can play a little bit deeper to help, but he's also a little more forward thinking. So he's going to get up and involved in the press and the attacking play a little bit more. So I liked getting both of those guys on there too.
Yeah. I like what you said there about his forward play. One of the things that a lot of people question Nunes about is his ability in the attack. If you watched him at Wolves, there's pieces of what he was doing at Wolves that we have not unlocked for our attack yet. Him playing decoy or making off-ball runs, whatever it may be, is necessary right now. His play when he came in for this match, for the 15, 20 minutes he was on, he showed that he can do those things still. It's getting the ball to him is what needs to happen. Yep. Not saying it should be every time, obviously, but when the space allows it, getting him in the ball, because his rush up into the goal, you can't knock it. I'd be scared shitless if I was a defender. Somebody of his height just barreling at me with a ball. Like what do I do? I like the fear that he can put into people with his speed, and that's something that people should take note of too. He has tremendous speed. So
with the ball, especially, he's very fast. Especially in dribbling at people, you love to see that.
Yeah. Let's see. We're dwindling down to the latter parts of the match. Crystal Palace pressing harder in the 80th minute, sloppy play. Marico made the wrong recovery run, and Diaz was slow to close off the runner at the very end. That was when they got their second goal. I really don't know what it is because like we sit here and we talk about like how well the defense is played, but then there's instances like this where it's kind of like, did I say that? Because that didn't look like what I was talking about.
Right. Too often it's creeping up this season with the switching off and getting punished for it, and we have to learn from that, especially against better clubs than the Crystal Palaces of the world. When we get into the Champions League here pretty quick against Madrid, and then especially with Madrid, they will capitalize on those kind of mistakes with the quality that they have. They have between Bellingham and Rodrigo and Vinny. They will punish us if we do that kind of stuff. So we have to be switched on at all times. The whole 90 plus stoppage, you have to be switched on. You cannot switch off for a second because, as we've seen, it's hurt us all season long. So now is the time to correct that. We're coming down to the end of the season, big matches. You have to be switched on, everybody together at the same time too. That's the most important thing, is everybody's got to be switched on and working together defensively to prevent these kind of things from continuing to pop up.
And that's Joe breaking it down analytically.
I tried to
saying all the things. I mean, I'm the loud voice, and you're the guy who knows way more than I do.
Stupid.
I've been blessed and lucky to work with two coaches for both my daughters, two head coaches and a couple of assistant coaches who have taught me a lot too, which has been a big help. So shout outs to my daughter's coaches, head coaches and assistants who I've been able to glean a lot of information from and help. So that's been a big part of it. Yeah. So anytime you can get involved with youth soccer in America and help out when you can, if you're able to, you'll learn a lot. You learn a lot, whether it's the young ones, the 5 and 6 year olds running around, or if it's 10, 11-year-old, 13 high school age. Anytime you can get into the coaching field, there's going to be people who can teach you something new.
Absolutely. I'm actually looking really forward, super forward to who my kid has a coach this year. He's actually the director of the Luya program in Maryland. He's going to be his coach. They actually have 2 different teams, which I find crazy, because he picked that many people that he actually has basically what's an A and B team, and it's in rec league, and he'll end up being their head coach as well once he gets into travel, in the fall. But yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of pulling some of his knowledge and taking the things that I've learned and incorporating it into what I know. And yeah, dude, I mean, there's so much to this game that it's almost endless amounts of knowledge. You never know it all.
Nope.
You could, I don't know. I feel like it takes lifetimes, even still, to gain all of that knowledge. No matter books that you could read or posts that you can interact with and learn shit from. It's crazy. One of the last notes that we've had though for this match, there's a whole narrative that City have the easy run out of the season. What do you think about that, Joe?
I think it's BS because the fixture schedule that we have right now with Champions League and FA Cup and everything happening, we are playing every 3 to 4 days here on out, pretty much, and that is very difficult. It doesn't matter who you're playing. We're playing Luton on Saturday, but they've been a tough team for everybody to play against. They're still in the relegation zone, but when you watch them play, it's not because they fight bored. They fight every match, and they just don't have the quality defensively to keep people out. But they are a tough out, and That's not going to be an easy match, especially coming from an away trip to Madrid midweek.
Right.
So it's. I think Arsenal, of the three that are competing, have the toughest Premier League route. They still are obviously in the Champions League. They have Bayern coming up. That won't be easy. But we certainly don't have an easy path because the way our fixtures are so compact in April right now, that's not easy to do for any club, whether it's us or somebody else. If it was so I don't think any of the three have an easy route. Liverpool still has Europa Cup, League to take care of on Thursdays. So I think every team has a difficult stretch coming up but we have the added FA Cup there to contend with.
Right. I think there's so many people who become so short-sighted when they look at certain teams, especially the tops, and they're like, oh, they have the easiest road out. Like, no, dude. That's one section of 3. You're not looking at the whole picture. Yeah, you're not looking at the whole pictures. Well, it's not just that. We're in multiple competitions. We are only one of the well, I guess it's two of the 3 teams are in competitions outside of the Premier League. So it's like people just don't think sometimes, I think is what it is. And they try to make it seem like City get all these fucking handouts, and I'm sorry, that's not the way that it goes. No. We get shit on week in, week out,
and
from some direction or another, whether it's from Talk Shite or Sky Sports or whomever. Yeah, there's always somebody. But I digress.
Nothing easy about
that's the end.
Doing.
Right. So that wraps up Premier League action for the week. So we're going to get into the stuff outside of our team for a little bit. But first, before we do that, this does have something to do with our team. How does the Liverpool United match affect us from today?
Well, the biggest thing is Liverpool are now in second and even with Arsenal, with just a 1 point separating those two clubs from us. So the biggest thing first domino was we needed Liverpool to drop points. It would have been ideal if Aaron Wan-Bissaka hadn't fucking given up that penalty and United could have gotten all 3 instead of sharing the points. However, they dropped points, which is great for us. A good result. Rare that we have to root for the Rags, but they did us a favor today, and we're able to take 2 points off of Arsenal for us. Now it's only 1 point behind. All we need is a draw from either team for both teams at this point, and for us to win out, and we're back in business. So one of the things we have to talk about is Saturday against Luton. I think this is a good time to mention that we play Luton on Saturday. Arsenal and Liverpool play on Sunday, which means we take care of business against Luton, win that match, we go top of the table, and now those two clubs have all the pressure on them to match what we have done. And we've seen what that pressure does, especially to Arsenal last year. They do not handle that particularly well. So when they see that we've won that match, we're on top of the table, and they have to match it, that's going to be extra pressure for them. They are for that one, for Arsenal especially, Liverpool plays in the morning before them. They're playing Crystal Palace, who we just got done with. So if Liverpool takes care of business, Arsenal's back in 3rd place. So they will be feeling that. We'll see what happens. Maybe maybe Crystal Palace pulls a shocker and is able to do something. But the nice thing about this schedule congestion is the way this lines up. We have first go at it this weekend coming up, and we're able to put that pressure back on those two clubs, which is a good thing for us. Arsenal does not have an easy match. They're playing Aston Villa. Are they home or are they away? Let's see. They are at home, so that is good for them. However, Arsenal is not Aston Villa is not an easy out, so that will be a difficult game for them, whether it's home or away.
Listen, I think we're all waiting for the Arsenal Bottling Company to open back up for regular business. It's bound to happen at some point. So, they can't hold on to what they've been doing. Let's be really honest. Kai Havertz is not a 9. He'll never be a 9. He never was a 9. He wasn't a 9 when he was with Chelsea. He's not going to be a 9 here. He has, and the couple of goals that he has had over the last 3-4 matches, everyone wants to call fucking Haaland a tap-in merchant. That guy is a tap-in merchant. Oh, he does. Because otherwise, he can't get the ball in the fucking goal to save his life. No. He's not a 9. He's not going to carry them forward. Their best option of a 9 is Gabriel Jesus. He's the only one that knows how to play that position and not get up in his head. I mean, yes, I'll take that back. I won't say that quite yet because he does get in his head. But Kai Havertz has another fuse, and I don't know if it's just the fucking German in him or whatever, but he has one miscue and it fucks the whole match for him. So it's that's not somebody I want up front who is so easily rattled. Yeah. Well, here's to the rest of the season. I honestly think with the Liverpool United match today, because of how it's opened things up, I think our path is so much clearer. We know what we have to take care of. We cannot afford. We shouldn't think in the mindset of we can afford to drop points here or here. There are no points that can be dropped at this point. Period. End of story. It's go time. We do not do this. We do not go 4 times? 5 times.
5
times?
6?
4 times. Yeah. So 4 in a row. And potentially a double trouble.
Yeah. We know the pressure. We welcome the pressure. City has done this before where they know that they cannot drop points going forward. And when this group of players gets that mentality in them, I have every faith that they're going to come through unscathed and win the remainder of the Premier League games. Now, it's not in our hands completely. We still need some help. And if by chance, one of those other 2 teams also went out and they do the job, we said it last week, all you can do is tip your cap. It's going to be disappointing, obviously, because I wanted to set a new record where and win the 4th in a row, which no English club has ever done. That would be fantastic. But we would have, in that situation, nobody to blame but ourselves because we've dropped points when we shouldn't have at times and put ourselves in this position. So if the other squads are able to do that, I don't think they will. I think both are going to drop points and in the end. But if they happen to go win out, then kudos to them. We'll end up probably having at least 1 or maybe 2 more trophies, if not the Premier League. So, it's going to come down to that last game. I think I think the 3 teams are going to stay within 2-3 points of each other, and I think the title gets decided on the final day on the 19th. Still,
I'm hoping to God that they dropped Aston Villa because that's really the only team that I can see them even doing that to. On the way out. So come on, Villa. Yeah. Come on, Villa.
They got United still. I think they still have Tottenham. Tottenham's going to play a big role in who wins the title.
Yes.
All 3 teams play Tottenham.
that should have went in the notes proper, but Tottenham are the fate givers, if you will, for the rest of the season. Depending on how those 3 games go, you're absolutely right. It's going to determine the season. 10,000%.
It's going to be fun. Whatever happens, it's going to be fun. It's going to be stressful. You're going to be feeling real tight during the games that we're going to watch moving forward, but it's going to be a hell of a ride. So enjoy it.
So, I'm sure you guys have all, at one time or another, or maybe weekly, like to bask in Mark Goldbridge's misery. I don't know if you guys saw it. If you didn't,
on social media all the time, so it's
right.
hard not to.
If you didn't,
you gotta love it.
if you didn't see it, I gotta bring it up because it just makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh.
Go! Fuck off! I don't want to do this anymore! I don't want to fucking do this anymore! What a fucking joke! What are they doing? Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, my. And this was in reference to what we talked about in the with Chelsea taking care of business in the closing seconds. Oh, that's beautiful. That's so good.
Listen,
so good.
When I see any United fan get that upset and throw their fucking chair,
yes, on a live watch along, which is even better. Which is even better.
If you're having team problems, I feel bad for you, son. I've got 99 problems, but trophies ain't one.
Not over here.
Oh,
can I read you a text exchange real quick from my buddy Ryan, who's also got into being a City fan, and he has a buddy who is a United fan. This afternoon, he texted him just 2 words: "Thank you." And then his buddy responded, yes. His buddy responded, "I'm going to hurt you." And then he goes, "Bro, what?" And he goes, "Needling me, these classic City plastic fans," which is they're always.
Oh.
Get out of here.
Do one.
My boy goes, "I'm just thankful that your mediocre average club decided to play just good enough to be relevant today. You're big mad. Love you still. At least you have the 7-Eleven Holland."
Temu. Ryan, it's a Temu version of Holland.
Ryan, I love you, buddy. Well done pooping on the United fans, my friend.
Oh my god. Oh. So he brought out another one today. Not quite as funny. But obviously the Wan-Bissaka happening towards the end of the match was notable enough to say something. So with that,
uno más.
Penalty. Why has Wan-Bissaka done that?
Why'd you do it?
Idiot. It's the same
I know,
again.
right?
It's the same again.
Every time.
These people getting their brains from a fucking scarecrow.
Basically.
What are they doing? What are we doing here? Why are you flying in? It's a Stonewall penalty, you fucking idiots. What part of your brain are you doing there?
Once again, the joys of live watch-alongs. Instant reaction, and it's comedy gold for us in blue over here.
Oh yes, dude. Thank you for that gold every week. It makes my I don't know how more United fans don't hate him, because he just gives us good material every week,
all the time,
all the freaking time. All right, so Neville, Mark. Let's get into Champions League talk. Ooh, we go to the Bernabeu midweek.
That we do. Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time.
All right. I'm not trying to put any bad juju on this. Don't think that. But there is a little reason to walk into this match a little scared. No Kyle Walker against Vinny. That's what's got me shaking a little bit. I'm just say that. Just shaking a little bit. Not stirred. This ain't James Bond. It's got me shaking a little bit. Akanji.
That was a good one, by the way. That was a good one. Shout out. Yes. Yes. Clap yourself on that one. Clap it up. Clap it up.
Stupid.
Once I say it.
Hey man, even though I've messed your flow up, I'm proud of it because I was giving you some kudos for a really nice one. So had to be done. I think you were mentioning a kanji coming in for walking.
Kanji.
I think that's what it was.
Listen, his ball skills have improved. I will say that. He has worked well out of the pivot. He's been able to manage from there over the last couple of games. This is not the same type of game. This is a little bigger. There's a lot more implications to it. The only saving grace here, I feel like, with this Champions League matchup, and we all said it when the draw happened, was we have second leg at home. Without second leg at home, this is a crapshoot. But on Tuesday, Vinny and Rodrigo need to be handled. That needs to be the main focus. Plain and simple.
Yeah, shutting those two down. I know Jude has been scoring a lot of goals, but we're familiar with him. We know how to handle him.
Exactly.
We played against him before, not with Madrid. It's different, a little different, but we know his game very well. We have players who know exactly how he's going to play. So shutting down that speed out wide from both of those two players who have hurt us in the past is 100% big key right on the whiteboard in the room. Shut those two down, please, and thank you.
Yeah.
Coming out of there with a draw, I think it's great, like we did last year. A little 1-1 situation would be fine, 2-2, whatever it might be. Getting a win obviously would be great.
Right.
But I'm 100% okay with coming out of this one with a draw, and going home to the fortress once again. That cannot be understated how important that is, considering what happened last year. We know how to handle this situation because we did it last year. It's the blueprint is there. Play like that.
Right.
Do that again.
Right.
Crowd, manager, players, everything. That level of intensity from the whole city community is exactly what's needed in match 2. So let's keep it close. Let's keep it close on Tuesday. Maybe win, and then come home and really put the screws to them.
Well, my big question here too is that Ancelotti's had a year to figure out what happened, what went wrong, and what changes that can be made to exploit us. What do you think could be something that Ancelotti will come after us with, aside from the attack of Vinny and Rodrigo?
I think if you're Carlo, you're seeing all of these at times unforced errors that City have made recently and over the course of the year with possession, and some miscommunications in the back line at times. And you're saying we can absolutely exploit those situations better than some of these teams that have not. So if you're Madrid and you're Ancelotti, you are 100% saying we might give them the ball a little bit, but we are going to counterattack the hell out of them with our speed and with our quality on the ball. So I think that's the first and most important piece for them, is capitalizing on the City mistakes that have popped up frequently. So I think that's the biggest piece that they're going to need to do. They know that they have a pretty good idea of what defensive lineup we're probably going to be playing and how we like to play defensively. So they're going to be looking to play that with no Kyle, those long diagonal balls from to Vinny in behind Kanji, probably who's going to be playing out there would be my guess. Initially, without doing any like real analysis, that long diagonal in behind is probably going to be what they're looking for. And creating that space in behind our center backs. So counterattacking like crazy and playing balls in behind our center backs who've been playing very high lately, which is how we've always played really, and looking to exploit that space. And especially in this first one, have the Madristas loud and proud and hopefully potentially rattling City. But we've been here before, so we shouldn't be too rattled.
The one thing that and you nailed it, is I'm concerned with them playing the long ball. all match and getting us beat out of position, whether it be, well, the only one that I see getting beat out of position if and only if our back line is as this: Akanji, Stones, Diaz, Gavardiol. That's what that back line should be. The only place that we are soft on that type of play is on the side of Akanji because of his speed comparatively to Vinny.
Yeah, because he's not slow, but Vinny is fast as hell. And Kyle was the first one to pocket him.
Yeah. He's really the only one that's been able to pocket him. I can't think of too many.
Yeah.
I can't think of too many right backs that's able to track him down quite the way that Kyle Walker can.
If you ask Vinny, if you ask Vinny has said it out loud that Kyle Walker is by far the best defender he's gone against.
Fast as fuck, boy.
And that's exactly why, right there.
Oh man. So last little thing we're gonna talk on. This week was the Premier League. What the fuck do they call it shit again?
FanFest.
FanFest, that's right. This week was Premier League FanFest. It was in Nashville this time. I think, for me at least, knowing the culture that Nashville has garnered as far as the MLS community goes, I expected to see quite a few people out for this. Not only that, but location speaking, like it's very centrally to a lot of people, especially if you're thinking of people on the East Coast. I mean, it's a lot denser population on the East Coast than it is on the West Coast. So Nashville kind of naturally almost made sense, especially with, you know, all the things that they've made available to do in the town or in the city, whether that be, you know, the big avenue where you go to bars and country shows and clubs and stuff like that. They've really amped up the city, and yeah, them bringing it there. One thing that I wanted to make mention, though, of is the fact that if you watched the Saturday broadcast when we played, it was very blue. It was abnormally much more blue than it has been in recent years. So shout out to everybody that made the trek down to Nashville and supported City and all that good stuff. But conversely, oh God, this fucking pains me to say.
I can see it on your face.
Fuck, it pains me to say. The Reds of both sides actually beat out the attendance record for every PL Fan Fest that's ever been done. To that, I've got to say, Blues, we got to do better. You can't just go for one day. You have to go both. Especially when there's a match, especially when there's this big of a match, this big of a rivalry. Like, you got to stay there and stir up the shit. And especially if you're going to take a whole weekend out of... You're going to take a whole weekend out of Nashville, and you're just going to show up on Saturday. And now, granted, a lot of these people were getting there. I was looking at some of the posts. Some of these people were getting there at 12:30 in the morning for this match, just to stand in line. Yeah. So I get maybe why it didn't happen, but all the same, like, I'm making a weekend of this. If PL Fan Fest comes to DC. And it's a 2-day event, which normally is. I'm staying both days. I'll probably just come camp out on your couch, and I'm gonna cause so much shit.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna hold my freaking scarves all the way up the front. Excuse me, coming through. Winter coming through.
Whether we're playing that day or not, the city flags will be a flying. The stars will be shown.
Right, dude.
So we got to show
no mercy.
Show out.
Show no fucking mercy.
All across the country. Next time they come, we got a mission now, and that's to break said record. Has to happen.
That's right. So we are now, as we usually are, at the end of our show. We usually open up the comment section. It's really been open the whole match, the whole match. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's been a week. in a week.
Sure has.
Yeah. Comment section is open, guys. We'll leave it here open for about 5 minutes. While we're doing that, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about our fan series that we're doing. That will be starting on April 28th with our guest, Pat Weitzel, from the Houston OSC, I believe it is where he's at. Looking super forward to talking to him. We're looking super forward to talking to any fans, not just fans of Snobby Boys podcast. Obviously, we're talking about our Blues. You're a fan, you want to come on, you want to talk shop, you want to shoot the shit, please hit us in the DMs, hit us in our email, snobbyboyspodcast@gmail.com. I check the emails every couple of days. It's not like we get a whole lot. But
yes, and I'm on X numerous times a day. Colby's on IG numerous times a day.
Basically all days. Basically,
throw us a message. That DMs are probably the quickest way, and just let us know.
Yeah.
Like he said, you want to talk about your team. If you're not a City fan, but you want to talk just footy with us in general, always down for that. Love talking the beautiful game with whoever wants to do it. So,
we do not discriminate. You might catch a rash of shit once or twice if you're from another team.
Throw it back at us.
But isn't that part of this?
Sports.
I mean, I think it is.
A little bit of shit talking.
Sports. It's a little trash talk. Don't hurt nobody. Don't hurt nobody. And then we'll also be having our good buddies from Just a Bit of Banter Football Podcast. They'll be on the 21st to help us cover the FA Cup matchup against Chelsea at Wembley.
Poor George is going to be so upset that day.
Shit.
He's going to be so upset that day.
This might be the day where we change somebody. I think with a little help from Patrick, and us colluding in together, we might be able to drive him over to the light side of things. If you don't know the light side reference, you had to have partied or went to Radford to know what that even. Whatever. Oh, Radford. So yeah, we'll be chopping it up with them here in a couple weeks. Really looking for, actually exactly 2 weeks to the day. Really looking forward to hanging out with them again. I really like those guys. Also, while we're here, I'll just shout out all of our constituents, if you will, in the U.S. podcast community. Hollywood Kit Packs, first and foremost. They have been like brothers to us. We're looking forward to having them on at the end of the season. Still need to get that arranged, but it will be in the plans. Also want to send a shout out to Shades of Blue. You guys are always doing the most, giving all the coverage to both the men's, women's, EDS, all of it. You guys are doing a stellar job. Keep on going. Love what we see. If you guys have any other podcasts that you guys listen to, throw them in the comments. Always looking for me specifically. I love listening to podcasts. Obviously, that's kind of why we're here, because I thought it was a good idea. But certain people got here before us. But who cares, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. I don't know what else to say. I'm at a loss for words this week.
Citizens Fancast, our boy over there. Always
Citizens Fancast. Fuck me. I'm so sorry, bro. You too, man. We would like to have you on. We would love to wrap it out.
I started that engagement with him. We are gonna figure out a time, but we have opened that dialogue already because we share a lot of the same takes, and I know he would be more than happy to come join us, or vice versa, and us go join him over there. So that is going to be coming in the works. So me and him are exchanging dialogue.
Well, there you go. I just learned that news right then, just like everybody else. Awesome.
Live reveal, baby.
Oh, man. All right. Sticking around. I'm going to throw the shirt slide again. Make sure that you... yeah, I was there before you. Ha! Bumfair.com /store /snobby-store. type in Snobby AF when you check out on all of the merch except for the If You Hate Man United. That will go through. You know what? We'll make it at the end of the year. 15% off. We love you guys. We just want you to support. That's all. We support you if it was your business.
Absolutely.
Just saying. And it's not quality. It is. You can't go to any store right now and pay $40 for a hoodie and be like happy with it in today's day and age. I'm just saying. And I'm not saying just because these are ours. We bought our own shit, first of all, to see if it was worth it. And it is. I would not let you guys put this on your back if it wasn't. I'm that picky. We're called the Snobby Boys for a reason. I'm a little bit of a snob on certain things.
We have a
comment. Oh my God, Chad!
Our guy Chad.
Where you been, bro? Where you been? Will you guys ever consider a watch along at some point? Unfortunately, due to mine and Joe's schedule, that's really not in the playing cards. It would be if we, right? Absolutely, we would love to, and we would be on it. But we are both soccer dads. He has 2 girls that plays, and he coaches. My son also plays, and he's going to be going into the next level of the American system. So it's kind of like go time. Got to be there for him. Got to help him with training and stuff like that, and keeping him on schedule. But that's not to say that it can never happen.
We just need the stars to align a little bit with soccer schedules.
Exactly. I think that maybe we could probably next season fit in a few during the winter time when football is really not that big of a deal. I mean, granted, your girls play indoor through who I won't say. As well as their local club. So it still kind of makes it a little dicey. Oh my God. Did you really fucking do that? You're canceled. You're canceled. What the hell? What the hell?
Just happened to be sitting right there.
Bark.
Alrighty then.
I could not do that. I had to.
God damn it, man. I feel like you just blasphemed all over our page just then. You just blasphemed all over. I was like, here's some blasphemous for you. Like,
considering I have my city scarf right here next to it. Oh
right.
You
better go wash that mother. You better go wash that fucking scarf now.
I apologize to the city community for that moment of weakness on my part.
Listen, that shit's airborne. It's like fucking COVID, man.
Where's my hand sanitizer?
No, you need to go get a fucking government issued COVID test and give it to that scarf because I'm pretty sure it got COVID. Just kidding. Listen, It's been a long week, guys. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, hanging out with us, listening to us talk shit. I'm just going to say it now. You guys are going to ask at some point, where's Kyle? Not coming back. And that's where we're going to leave that. He showed his true colors last week and definitely, yeah, he's not with us anymore. It will just be Joe and I from now on, back to the good old duo. Yeah. So there's that. Just so there's no questions asked. If there's questions asked later, I'm just going to look at you and laugh. That's all I'm going to do. Okay? All right. Anyways, before we go, make sure that you hit the like, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell for all notifications for whenever we are getting ready to air. And when we have our episodes, anytime that we post a short reel, make sure you're there. Make sure to follow us at SnobbyPod on all social media platforms. And I do mean all social media platforms. I did make sure to get them all under the same name. Until next week, guys, again, thank you very much for listening to us bullshit, because that's all we really do. It's just bullshit. We just write a bunch of notes while we watch the game and then say, we're going to talk about it. So, yeah, anyways, I'm going to leave you guys with a... Yeah, this one sounds good. Is it going to play? Uh-oh. Is it playing? Is it playing? Okay. I can't hear it. Oh, what we got?